Hello, this is Nindy Kerr of Nindy's Creative Corner. Today we will be learning about sponging our embossing folders. Sponging our embossing folders gives a different color layer to our card. This is Mossy Meadow cardstock, and I used Hello Honey ink to give it that darker effect so you could see the chevrons better. Here I used Melon Mambo to sponge on the embossing folder, and I used Whisper White cardstock. Here I used Mossy Meadow ink on Very Vanilla cardstock. So let's get started on learning this quick and easy technique. The first embossing folder we will be using is the filigree embossing folder from the 214 holiday catalog. As you can see, there's a nice center here that I usually like to leave, at least lighter colored, for stamping. We'll be using Mossy Meadow ink and 1/6 of a stamping sponge. And if you'll notice, each embossing folder has two parts, the front, and on some embossing folders this is different, but one side has the images going down, which is where they will be raised, and the other part has the images sticking out to fit into there, and that's how you get your raised and lowered images. So depending on which you want, right now I want the raised images the lighter color, so I'm sponging around on the flat side. And get your sponge re-inked whenever the color starts getting lighter. And I just have to get that little part there. And I'm kind of leaving an oval space in the middle. On this one, you need to line up, because there's more at the embossing folder at the top and bottom than there is on most of them, or at least it feels like it. Yes, I still haven't marked it with a Sharpie. I'll have to do that. And then gently close, and here's what it looks like before it goes in the big shot. For the big shot, I do use the multi-purpose platform. As you can see, mine has been well used, with this tab closed and this tab open, and I lay my cutting plate, this embossing folder, and then another cutting plate. I'll be right back. Okay, here we go. Let's see how it turned out. So you can see the raised images remained their light color until I got a little darker over here. We'll touch up this corner a little bit. There. So, yeah, I definitely am going to have to use a Sharpie on that. But, so here's our first embossing folder. We'll try a couple more. I've always wanted to do a plaid with this Stylish Stripes embossing folder, and I think I've got it figured out finally. On this front side here, the lines are popping up, so I'm just going to try to lightly just sponge those edges, well, the popping up parts. And yes, it will get a little bit on the other side, but I usually prefer doing the sponging in lighter colors, but it's really hard to see on the video, so I'm going back to Mossy Meadow, which I know shows up. Okay, so we'll run this through. Oops, I guess I'm really getting inky fingers today. So I'll run this through the big shot, see what this turned out like. Okay, pretty good. Now we're going to try the other side. This time I will be doing it on this back part, which the stripes are poked in, so I just try to lightly rub it across the top. And get the edges, which I seem to be forgetting. And then this time we want to flip it over so the stripes are going the opposite direction. Line it up and I'll be right back. Alright, let's open it. And this is the side we want to look at. Well, you can at least see the lines defined better. Here's one I did earlier in Pacific Point. But that gives kind of a rough, non-refined look. A guy should like that. Anyway, that's another idea. Anyways, you have a couple of ideas of how to use embossing folders with sponging them. To clean them off, you just run them under your sink tap, dry them off with a paper towel. When the water's running, I usually rub them and try to get the ink off. Of course, it usually transfers to my fingers, but anyway, I've never had any of the ink stain my embossing folders. Of course, I have not tried Black StazOn or Black Memento or Basic Black. But the classic ink colors usually do just fine. Anyway, so have fun experimenting with this technique and coming up with your own projects. Remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel and also check out my blog and make comments on the projects you like. You can also subscribe to my newsletter on my blog, and you will then have access to 3 extra exclusive projects just for my newsletter subscribers each month. And a special website. It has a collection of projects from the last, I don't know, year and a half or 2. Anyway, so happy embossing and sponging.